had an accident. What's going
That's
on? We barely figured this thing out in time. We got a couple of topics to talk about. We're going to talk about cake versus cookies versus brownies.
I
We
like
got to
pie.
talk about grills versus impacts. Should you go solar? What does pretty much every electrician or even some electrical inspectors that I've spoken to not know about how electrical systems actually work? And but first, I want to show you this.
All right. In case you all wonder, I am the American Dream, Dust of Souls, coming at you live and in living color tonight, baby.
So these are my favorite, right? And I've shown you how nice they strip. I think that they replace needle nose. Knocking out boxes and stuff the other day, panels, whatever. They work really well. Check this out. This is number 8-3. So it's three conductors with ground.
Yeah.
And they give you just enough to where you can get on there. One hand.
Uh-huh.
And cut that there. Now, everyone likes the Knipex, so we got the Knipex. Okay. Observe how you have to. Hang on. I think I can do it. Oh, there we go.
Oh, very nice, Paul. Caleb Ross is here. He likes your glasses.
Hang on. He likes your glasses. Okay. We got it on there.
Oh.
See, they still do it, but you can't convince me. Like, you know how big my hands are?
Yeah.
We are fully outstretched, very uncomfortable. It barely gets on there, and then we have to reach down here and readjust down here to make that cut. Which we can do, but it's difficult. Right?
Milwaukee won then.
Milwaukee did win. Because these are 60. And these are 20.
Yeah, I don't.
Right?
I don't even think they're 20.
Nah, I think they're 20. There you go. We just cut up about $3 for you guys.
Very nice.
And
thanks, sir.
Some landed in my cookie. some cookie AM ASMR.
Well, if you're gonna eat your cookie, please do it on your OF page and not here. Nobody wants to see that.
I want to see that. So, should you go solar? What's your thoughts?
No. That's my thought on it. Solar's gotten better, but it isn't there yet. It doesn't create it. It's not efficient enough to actually make it worthwhile for most people. The fact that an array only truly works to its full efficiency about 20 days out of the year. It works better in the fall than it does in the spring or the summer because of the heat. Heat is actually bad for solar. So I honestly, it's just not there. And the fact that most solar installers don't really understand what they're putting on and how it's affecting the clipping and whatnot that's going on. Truly, it's not quite there for me yet. I don't even know that it'll get there within my lifetime.
I got three big reasons why, but first I'm going to tell you what happened with me, right? Because we knew that more than half of the world was going to get sick. So we were prepared. And I bought solar before that announcement, which everything was affordable back then. And we got 35 panels for like $25,000 with one inverter. And I did my own panel change out. Yeah, 35 panels. Which is, what is that, like 11 something kW. Good deal.
Yeah. It was 9. You had 9 on your house. We
I don't
went
remember what I
through it.
had.
You
Yeah.
had 9.96, I think, because I was able to tell you that you were only running about 6 to 7.
Yeah, something like that. So anyway, we started off with an electric bill of $200 when I bought the house in April, and then every month as we got closer to the summer, went up $100. And by the time we got to uh, July, August, it was going to be $800 a month for electricity.
Yeah.
Where I used to live, my whole mortgage, including insurance, was
Mm.
$700. Right. So we there's a couple of things you can do before you go solar. There's a couple of things you need to do before you go solar. You should spend that money on making your home more efficient.
Right.
Windows do a big thing. Insulation is a very cheap, something that you can do yourself. Go to Home Depot, rent. I think you get 10 bags. You get the blower for free. Or if you just buy a Makita, you become the blower. But
It's true.
so blow the insulation in yourself, and then it's tax credit. You can do soffit vents. You can do ridge vents. You can do windows. Doors are probably the last thing I do for efficiency. They're too damn expensive.
Oof.
Probably because I don't, But yeah, there's a bunch of things you can do before you go solar. So we did all that as
Right.
we were doing the solar because it was like crunch time. It was like, we got to hurry up and sign this thing before they change their mind. So we kind of did everything all at the same time. And right before we went solar, because you don't get to see your offset until a couple of months after you go. So
Mm-hmm.
right as we were signing, we were already seeing $400 of savings just by doing those efficiency things.
Sure.
And then by the time we went solar and everything kicked over, we had a zero bill. The first year, our electric bill in the summer with the solar, so we went from $800 to $300 a month for solar, and we were paying $100 for the electric bill, right?
Mm-hmm.
Later on, we structured it to where it was about $210. I think it was 210. It was going to be 300 if we didn't pay it off in a year or something like that. Balloon payments, how they get you.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. If you don't give back your tax credit, so you get like a $10,000 tax credit. If you don't give your $10,000 tax credit back, it balloons upwards to like $100 more a month for the rest of
Mm.
forever.
Yeah.
So trying to think exactly how it went. So long story short, we paid a little bit in the summer towards the end, but in the winter came around, we started getting a zero bill and we started getting credits. It's like $150, $200 extra for credits. So when that next year came around to pay for our electric bill, we had credits stacked in the winter and we're using those credits towards the summer. And
Right.
we went almost 2 years without an electric bill. We had our solar bill, which was $210 a month, and that was it.
Right.
And we went from $800 a month to 210,
Sure.
which worked out really well. But
Right.
man, they got greedy with it, man, and they started charging $20 more just a month because they knew you're going to have credits. So they wanted cash from you. So
Sure.
they got greedy with it, right? And now you got to pay like 20 something bucks extra a month just because you have solar. If you have a solar
Mm-hmm.
plan that stores credits. And then they went from, what was I was like at 10.8 cents per kilowatt stacking. I think the national average now is like what, 15 cents?
I don't know. I
It's
don't
like
know what it
15 cents
is.
per kilowatt now. Yeah, it's expensive, man. I think 15 cents is a deal.
Well, the thing is, so more and more municipalities have begun doing away with the tax credit or with the tax. So they're not buying your solar anymore. They are literally just taking it from you. If you feed back into the grid, they're just taking it from you and they don't have to they don't have to give you anything. Like here in Missouri, I think there's only 2 townships left that still do that, where they'll give you a credit. And then in California, they have begun up, like I want to say a good share of them have already done away with any credit, because the houses that are being built in California are required to have solar. And
Right.
because they're required to have solar, the electric company that's still providing uh, to the individuals, they're not giving any of those credits.
It's your job to supply the grid now.
Yeah, and it'll happen in Texas, so that'll go away for you in Texas.
Yeah.
Um, and the other thing that you have to remember about solar is most people don't know how to work it right. They,
Right.
they think that's just a grid tied system, so they can just leave their shit on like they normally do, and they don't really care about any of it. But the fact of the matter is, unless it's a necessary appliance or a necessary item in your house, you're supposed to unplug when you have solar to maximize your savings. Nobody really does that. They just go with, well, this is my usage and this is what I'll continue to do. And the
George Orwell
fact of
says, sorry, go ahead.
And with the tax credits, just like you said, you have to give it back to the company, right? The people that
Right.
are Encore or whoever is doing it, right? So it's not really your money. You're literally lending them money to put solar
Right.
on your house to pay them back their money or the government's money
For what
that
they
they're
can't supply
getting.
to the grid. Right.
Yeah, but they're getting credits from the government to incentivize you to use solar.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they're getting double paid. You're getting double
So
screwed.
George Ordway's got a buddy with 12-volt appliances in Hawaii in the mountains. That's pretty cool. Uh, what's up, Sayer? Most people don't understand electronics. Don't uh, turn off electronics to go to sleep. Yeah. Um, so number one reason would be it's no longer affordable. It used to be affordable. They got greedy. Number two, they put a lien on your house, whether you
Yes.
know it or not. So if
Well,
you are,
it's 2 liens.
is it really?
Yeah. So what happens is the company that you sign up for, that you sign uh, the agreement with, the purchase agreement and the install agreement. Encore is just the most obvious. There's I think it's Sun Belt. There are a couple of them out there. Uh,
Yeah.
so the ones that are doing that, they put a lien on their house, and you sign it when you sign that paperwork. You're agreeing to have them put a lien on it. The other one comes from the actual distributor of those solar panels, the railing, the wiring, and all that.
The
What they
contractor you
do,
paid that, yeah.
what they do is for that individual, because they get the copy of the plans, right? So
Right.
they'll put, until that loan is paid off and paid off complete, they'll put a loan or a lien on that piece of property that is leveraged by the company. So the person that sees it, they never see that second one. The distributor has put that on there. So even after the initial, where you're signing your house away, it's what you're doing. When you're signing
Right.
your house away to the solar company, if they don't pay, and there's been lots of instances where they don't pay, the solar distributor, be Green Tech or um, I can't remember the other one.
You're talking about like the people that make the panels, the people who you sign that's going to install the solar.
No, the distributor, the people that
Oh.
your solar installer goes to get their shit.
Oh, Mission Solar then.
French,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, it's like French, Green Tech. There's another one that's out there. The 3 largest. That's probably 90% of the distribution network that's out there. French Girlman. They have a lien for that property that the contractor the installer signs with them to get credit.
Oh, multiple people have their hands in the pot. I see.
Yeah. So if that contractor, like I can remember an instance where there was one. I won't name the name of the business, but they had done several here in the state of Missouri, and they had failed to pay the distributor. Well, the distributor got attorneys and went after the individuals because the individuals had already signed a lien with that installer. Well, that installer, even though it was through another entity, whether it's Encore or Sun or whomever, even though they had done that, the individual then has to pay for all of those distributed materials.
So what we wound
It's
up
a big
doing, which kind of
scam.
shot myself in the foot, honestly, but it seemed like a good idea at the time. When we refinanced the
Hey,
house,
Gearsman.
we threw a bunch of cash at it. We lowered the payment, and we paid off the solar at the same time, and we also took out quite a bit of money, just in case we had a kid. And then we ended up having a kid, so we spent the money we took out on. Even if you have insurance, it's $10,000 to have a kid if you have insurance, just in case you want to know. That's what it was in 2020. So we put out some money just in case she got pregnant, and she did. And then, just to kind of have like a rainy day fund, right? So we rolled the solar into our mortgage. That way we would own it. That way we wouldn't be
Thanks, Big
screwed
Red.
with solar, because the balloon payment, like I was saying before, if you don't give your $10,000 of tax credit back to your loan, they double your monthly payment. It's structured in there.
Yeah.
So we own the house because we did a cash out refi and not a HELOC, which is a home equity line of credit. Because we did cash out. We could not cash out or do a HELOC again in Texas.
Okay.
So even though we
I
had
think that's
200.
universal.
Okay. Well, I didn't know this, so hopefully it helps you guys out, because I didn't know this. This is going to be my third house, and frankly, a lot of people are just too busy in autopilot living life to know everything about the ins and outs. But that's one good thing to know, is that if you do a cash out, you can't HELOC later. We had almost $300,000 equity, right? But we couldn't do anything with it,
Right.
except for sell the house, which we did.
Right.
And here we are. But we didn't put any of that cash into our new house. No. We had to rebuy all of our stuff all over. So,
see, and here's what I'm going to tell you, because I have a lot of experience with a lot of things.
right.
The best way to do this is when you do one of these things where you get a sum of money, and this is going to sound crazy, because if you don't know how this game works, then you're always going to be behind the eight ball. It's so difficult to become wealthy in America if you don't understand the rules. So what you do is when let's say you did a refinance of your home, or you sold your home and you were getting hundreds of thousands of dollars. What you do is you would take that money and you would invest it into a life insurance policy with a cash value.
Right.
What you can then do is whenever you need money, you can borrow the money from yourself.
From your own life insurance.
From your own life insurance, right? You can borrow that money from yourself. You're your own creditor. You're your own bank. There's a whole philosophy on it. There's books about it. The most famous being Bank on Yourself, but every insurance person worth their salt, which means none of your State Farm guys, because they know jack shit. But what you do is you borrow that money, and instead of paying it back, you convert that policy from, say, a whole life to another to a universal life, another cash value insurance policy. Your cash value never drops. It's always the same.
Saw someone coming here. Gear Spin Tools. What's up, man?
It can only go up. That's how the cash value works, right? So it'll only go up. Once you convert it, you're your own creditor.
Mm,
You're not making a claim against yourself. You can't come after
I see.
yourself to pay the claim back,
Yeah,
right?
gotcha.
So that cash value goes into that
What's up, John?
policy. It never drops. It's the same, even though you borrowed against it. You've now
Nice.
doubled your money, or whatever, however much you borrowed. You've doubled your money in essence, and you can continuously do this
Borrow. Yeah.
every year or every 2 years. And I've talked to people about how to do business, because it's something I used to do with my businesses. I had 7 businesses. Something I used to do to fully finance a new business venture. Instead of going and getting other investors and looking for capital for individuals, I would use my life insurance to fully fund new projects whenever I wanted to. And then when it was
Nice.
time for me to cash out, I just had to pay back. If it was in a period where I had borrowed and hadn't converted, I just had to pay back the loan that I gave to myself so that I could
Let's
cash
talk
that policy out.
hypothetically, right? Let's say you got a house and you got a very high interest rate, 7.25
Yes.
for a random number.
Refinance. What you do is you take
So they want to refinance down to 6.25.
well, why would you? Here's what you do.
Right.
What you would do is you would take another mortgage out so that you pay off that one. The money that they give you, right? You take that money and you put it into the life insurance. Then you immediately withdraw that money from a policy with a cash value. You immediately withdraw that money, pay back the financer, and then convert in 6 months.
All right.
This is like, if you can go back, the Rockefellers have been doing this for about 130 years.
Yeah.
If you look at Hilton, this is policies this is stuff that the Hilton family does. And the funny thing is, like, it's just,
It's a big red.
this is the stuff that they don't tell you. And if you don't know how money works, it will never work for you.
Yeah.
You can get rich by getting lucky in the stock market until tax season comes along. So if you haven't busted your ass and gotten a ton of money, the tax man comes around and then you bend over and you take it. You can you can get lucky. You can build a business, make a product, sell that business. That's
Speaking,
the other
you need
way
to take your tax
wealthy.
man's binoculars
Or you
away.
can die. Yeah. Those are like, someone dies, you make a product and you sell that product, or you make a lot of money in the stock market until tax season. Those are the 3 ways to get rich in America. Just those 3.
Gotcha.
Unless you know how to play the game. And if you know how to play the game, if you really understand it, then this is the only way to, and you'll create generational wealth. If you win the lottery and the person that you talk to does not first mention insurance to you, they are just setting you up for failure. Because if I won the lottery, I would double my money every 6 months.
Yeah. Interesting. You took the solar panels off your face.
I just say, this is like, because one of the businesses that I owned was insurance. I was a licensed insurance agent in 22 countries, 49 of 50 states. I didn't have I don't think I could get licensed in California or something.
Hey, when you signed your do not compete, does that exclude you from talking on YouTube?
No. Well, now I can't sell it because of the Alzheimer's. They won't let me. Like I
right.
couldn't sell insurance because you have to
Perfect.
be, you know,
Not Alzheimer's-y.
yeah, you have to have. There's like some indication that you have to have a full mental capacity, but I am
Can't be down
diminished.
with the
I know
sickness.
this. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Like, I can remember, and I know this is way off topic because we were talking about solar and refinance, and I
Yeah.
apologize to all the people
Yeah.
trying to follow along.
You're good.
I used to talk to businesses about self-insuring their Medicare or their medical for
Yeah.
individuals because and this is just food for thought for any of you that run a business. What you would do is you would have you would take a accumulation of 5 to 10 years of all claims um, committed within your business. If you don't have 5 years, you're not going to be able to self-insure. Government won't even let you self-insure. I mean, you can do it, but you're going to get sued and you'll lose everything. um, what we used to do is we would take the last 5 to 10 years of a business's accident history, their claims history, and what we would do is we would write a policy called a catastrophe policy based on the worst of those years, the worst possible.
Okay.
What would happen is none of the employees' benefits changed, not a single one. And a matter of fact, most of them got better, like no deductibles. So if you're working for a business that has no deductible, they're doing this.
Oh, I see.
Right. Or they're huge. Those are the two ways.
Huge, probably. I think everyone has a deductible nowadays.
Yeah. So what you would do, or for the business, and the individuals can do this, it's just extremely difficult because you have to have that money up front. You would put that money into kind of a savings account. It's not really a savings account, but that's the easiest way for me to explain it to people. You would put it into a savings account. Then every single claim that was done in that fiscal year automatically came out of that policy or that savings account.
Right.
It doesn't get put into an insurance recording agency. So it doesn't go through your Blue Cross. It doesn't go through your Aetna. It goes through you, the business. And what happens is, because you're not reporting, you're not required to report to an insurance reporting agency. The next year, it doesn't go up.
I see.
Unless you had a catastrophic. And then when your catastrophic hits, that's when the insurance company would know, and they would just readjust for the following year.
Gotcha.
I know this is strange to do this, but he got onto this topic of financing and stuff, and just happens to be a pastime of mine.
Jonathan says, now I'm going to go take my AAA life insurance policy and borrow one. It's got to be a whole life, right?
Whole life universal. It's
a
cash
whole life
value
universal.
problem. It's got to be a cash value policy.
It can't be, because I've got a cheaper one, which is not cash value. It's just a term. I got a term life, but that's whenever I was doing like infrared, man. And I was literally like laying on the floor, grounded, right? And you were in this hot suit. You got this mask over your head. You got two little fans on your ears so you can have the sanity to think that you're getting cooler, but really all it's doing is stopping your mask from fogging up.
Yeah.
They didn't actually keep you cooler, but it made you think in your head you were getting blown by some air because you're just dying in the suit.
If anyone's been blown here, well, it's not you. You're normally doing the other.
And then you're literally you got your large multimeter with your magnetic lead snap here, and you're taking this wire and you're weaving it in between just the reds. So you got like 12 pipes with 4 wires coming up. You know, each wire is this big, and so you got 12 reds that you got to wrap 1 lead around. So you're trying to like weave the basket, you know, and separate the wires and get this little stupid test lead in between only the red ones. so you can get the full
Right.
amperage of the total of just B phase or whatever it is. Yeah, I bought a term life that year.
So here's again, I just happen to know this stuff, having been an insurance broker. I wasn't an insurance agent. I never worked for a damn person. I can't stand working for people. I don't have the personality to work for people anyway. But
Yeah, we know.
Less than 1% of all term policies, less than 1% of all term policies pay out ever.
Well,
And by the way, George said something
kind of glad
about
I was one of them.
George said something about he had a coworker that had stage 4 colon cancer, and they couldn't find an insurance. The place went and they didn't take the insurance. Here's what your boss should have done. And again, it's only based on me having such a wide range of knowledge on this subject. There's a thing called viatical insurance. This is for people that are in a financially dispositioned circumstance where they
Write
are
that down. Viagra insurance. So that's whenever you die while you're making love, it's covered.
something like that. It's
Okay.
viatical. It's actually
Oh, okay. Viatical.
viatical.
Gotcha.
So if you are diagnosed and told that you have less than 2 years to live, there are people that are willing to fully fund a life insurance policy that will provide for you while you're going through the end of your life and give you the ability to live as comfortably. And I know people that have taken vacations and done all kinds of stupid shit with it, but you can because they do enough, right? When you die, they are the sole
Get your organs.
beneficiary. They are the sole beneficiary to that policy. So they always write it for about 35%, give or
1,000.
take,
Yeah. Oh,
more, 35% more than what they're giving you to go through this process. And it could be hundreds of thousands of dollars that they give you. And you're allowed to live the last days of your life in relative comfort
comfort.
while you're going
Yeah.
through this stuff. And it's something you have to go through a broker to get, because your Allstate agent ain't gonna know it. Right? You really have to know somebody that knows insurance. I do not
Interesting.
play well with others.
That is pretty interesting. I've been through a lot of death, man. A lot of death in the
Yeah,
family.
yeah. Well, the
Constantly.
other thing, again, another thing that people don't know about insurance, and I know this is not an insurance talk tonight. I'm just bringing it up because it's there. You can on any life insurance policy that you take, including your term life insurance, you
Mm-hmm.
can get what is called an LTC rider. That is called a long-term care rider. So if one of your loved ones is going to be needing to go into a nursing home at some point in their life, or you have a history of cancer or whatever, mental disease, what have you, where they're going to need long-term treatment,
Okay.
it borrows against the death benefit
Mm.
of that policy. So you can literally say you get it to $250,000. It's the typical size of a term life insurance policy. You can take $250,000 worth of care for your family, so you don't have to go destitute. Your family doesn't have to go destitute. They don't have to be burdened by some of this stuff, but you really,
Now,
it's
they
only
take taxes
available
out
when
of
you
that.
sign up.
Is this all taxed as you're paying it and then it pays out? Or
I
how
hate
does
to
that?
tell you this, life insurance is tax-free, sir.
Interesting.
I'm just saying, you like,
Mom died from colon, left a lot of medical bills to take care of. My mom died from cancer. Like, I don't even know when. 2014. and we sold 3 houses.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sucks to have money, you know. You're better off to be broke.
Actually, well, yeah.
Better off to not have
In
insurance.
in some instances, don't. What's up, Ryan? Don't. Glad to see you up and about. By the way, Renegade. But don't get me started on some of this other stuff, because let's just
Yeah.
move on to the next topic. I can go
All
all
right.
day
What's the
on
next
this.
time? All right. Drill or impact? What are you? Are you team drill on everything? What's your thoughts?
Just kind of depends on what I'm doing.
Okay.
I'm 21. I have no job, no money. How do I buy a house? John, do you
Well,
have
you got to
children?
get
No, I'm not going to ask him to sell his children.
it. Impact. Yeah. I'm team impact.
Okay. I am depending on the job. So, uh, anybody that watches me, I say it all the time. Impact drivers are for small fasteners where cam out is a possibility. Self drilling or self tapping screws or over tight nuts and bolts. That's it. They are meant for short bursts of power, not long term power usage.
I
And
think the more powerful that the tools get, we change the definition of a small fastener by a couple of inches.
I don't know. I just did the 860. I tried to drive a 12-inch or 10-inch lag,
Yeah.
something you have seen me do with a drill multiple times. Though I don't do the how-to on it. I just do it because I can do it.
Right.
But yeah, the impact driver can't do it. But it can. I mean, some of them can. It's just
Right.
not good for the tool, and you're going to end up ruining the tool. While they're getting more powerful, the materials that go into them are the same.
Right.
They're not using
That's true.
tungsten for that hammer and anvil. I hate to
That's
tell you
true.
this. They're still using steel. Steel, when it heats up, gets weaker.
I'm an electrician and I love my life. Love my
My
little
little,
M12 impact. Didn't he say he didn't? Is that the same guy that doesn't have a job?
yes.
Oh,
I think he's just pulling
you're an
our leg.
electrician though, man. That's how you get a house. You go, how long you been an electrician for? So I got my first house when I was 21, probably 21. It's hard now, man. Everything's like, it's like 40% more. Everything. And houses are like 100% more. Houses might even be 150% more now.
Damn.
But I got my first house for 70K. And then, inflation, all that stuff. Then I sold it for like 240 something. And then I bought one out here and then I sold that house for 4. Then I bought this one. But I'm starting from nothing all over again. I only put like $15,000 into this house to get it, or whatever the 5%. What is it? FHA is 3%.
I don't even know.
Put 3% down to get this house with a lot of very good credit history. Let's put it that way. So if you're trying to get a house, you're going to need a spouse, unfortunately, because one person can't make that much damn money. It's impossible.
Ren, don't push yourself right now. Take time to recover.
We need to do something in the garage today. Fell over. Uh-oh.
Yeah, you got to take time to recover, my friend.
Oh, man, I hope you're okay. Yeah.
Oh, who farted here? He wanted
what's up,
everybody to
man?
know he's gay.
Well, my first house at 40. Now it's at 875. Yeah, man, that's the taxes got to suck on that too. I can't imagine getting your mortgage is like, let's see, you buy it at 4, so your mortgage is probably like 3K. No, your mortgage is probably, let me think. Mortgage is probably like 2,500.
Ren had and
now it's like
cardiac
37.
infarction.
Covered from these.
I'm just saying, I bought my house with all the land for $16K. The house now alone is worth 120, and it's just a common everyday house. It's not
That's what
anything
I'm saying.
special.
Yeah, 15K a year. So if he started at 25, he's at least 3,700 from a $2,500 mortgage. By the time you figure 15K a year, yeah, that's about right. In Bermuda, when we this was in 1999, 1998, our house was like 25,000 a year in taxes,
Damn,
land tax. Yeah.
that's gotta suck.
Yep. That's why we, bought a smaller house with no windows, no floors, no doors, no walls, just a structure with barely a roof, exposed cedar beams, and no floor. And it was like 600K.
Mine's 1,800 a year.
Yeah, Bermuda's wild, dude.
Mm.
That house probably worth
Nope.
$2 million now.
I went, yeah.
That house was 750 square feet.
While
750 square feet.
The next time the Atlantic Ocean has a fart, it could be gone.
No, man, that thing's up on it's up on like a cliff.
Oh,
Where the cruise ships come into dockyard in Bermuda is where that house is. Damn, Renegade, so sorry to hear that. Had no clue. Oh, dang.
Journeyman paycheck.
Yes, I would say, man, if you're trying to get a house, you're gonna have to gotta get a sugar daddy or a sugar mommy, depending on what you're into. But we got one more day for until sugar daddies or a thing.
I think 2 more. It's the first is when.
Yeah,
is
that's
when
sugar daddies are relevant.
That's when Makita month starts.
Cool.
I don't know if he took. I don't know what he did with your pouch farted. All right. What's next? What's next on your agenda?
Okay, next agenda. So driller impact. We're talking. Okay, so what's the best battery then?
What's the best battery?
Yeah.
Like
of all
together?
All of them. Yeah, if you could put any battery on a tool, you can only pick. Well, you can only pick one. Okay, so for an impact, what's the best battery?
Oh, for an impact. It depends on what impact, man. Like for Milwaukee, I would say the 3 high output. For DeWalt, the 1.7.
If you could put any battery, like I'm talking any battery,
probably the 1.7 power stack. Smallest, lightest, the best bang for your buck.
I really, really like the 3.5 from Flex.
Yeah, but it's just like it's going on a Flex tool, so the tool automatically is heavy.
No, but you could put any battery. Like if you had to pick, because the battery is just the battery, right? So if they can make a 3.5 stack, what is your opinion on the new universal battery system? They already proved that it's not as good as the manufacturer's design battery, which I don't even know how you mess that. How do you mess that up? Because batteries are batteries. Like either you use good batteries and you got a universal adapter, or you didn't use good batteries and you got a universal adapter. Like how did they make it to where it doesn't do as good as a DeWalt battery? And it's newer. Like they had every chance to make it better, and they still didn't make it better.
And how universal is it? Like, I know to work on Makita, DeWalt, and Milwaukee. It doesn't work on Flex. I don't think it works on Rigid. It certainly doesn't work on Ryobi unless you're adding another adapter to the thing. I mean, come on. Like, it's not really universal. It's just mostly convenient.
Yeah. Why don't they settle on a voltage like 50? That'd be a lot of volts.
Yeah, you don't need that. Look at what the 18-volt tools are doing now.
Yeah.
Dang. You see the trend with companies, though. They're going smaller. right? They're taking some of the power out of their tools and they're going smaller. That's what Milwaukee just came out with their compact series, which is great. Rigid's had the subcompact. DeWalt's got their atomic line. The 90% Ryobi, whatever line they got, is pretty weak. Um, but they even have a compact drill that's not worth anything. But
Yeah.
honestly, you can go with like any of them. They're all doing these. They all have a whole now new line of smaller tools that just aren't as powerful because you
It would
don't
fall under
you
the
don't
low
need it.
voltage.
Yeah, you don't
It'd be
you don't
DC
need
though.
all that. You don't need all that power. Uh,
Yeah.
I even the pros are driving 3-inch screws most of the time. If they're driving like what drywall guys, what inch and a half. You've got
Yeah.
even framers. You do your whole frame with fucking nail.
Right. Well, you wouldn't want to use a screw there too
No shear
hard.
strength.
Yeah, no shear
Yeah.
strength. What
So
table saw do you guys recommend? Is the Evolution one any good? The Evolution one's not bad, honestly, but you can probably get. Are you going to do it portable for like a job site, or what are you going to do?
no
For the
big rip.
price and how light the Evolution is, the materials it's made out of, and all the things it comes with, it's a good price. But if you're going to be doing like custom cabinetry or something, you got to get a DeWalt with a good rack and pinion. The Flex looks really impressive.
Subcool. I am retired.
I am
Happily
an electrical
retired.
inspector. I do electrical inspections for a living. Used to be what do I fall under? I guess a construction electrician would be my main
Yeah.
trade. Technician
Let's
for a couple of years. I did infrared.
yeah. Let's see.
Everything electrical, I've pretty much done it.
Uh, I've done quite a bit.
Yeah.
I'm most known for solar, but I just so happen to do home reno, home construction. Had on the East Coast of the United States, I actually used to build apartment buildings for government, like low income apartment buildings for the government, and then I did solar. Probably at one point, I think I was the third largest solar installer on Earth.
Nice. Yeah,
Yeah,
I've got my electrical license. And then I've also got quite a few certs for ICC, which is what would you say ICCs are? They're
who farted never.
impact drivers ed. Took out the Evolution Rage 5 table saw. Yeah, that's what I've got.
Yeah,
It's pretty decent and it's light.
just don't have him put together the saw.
Hey,
2 days later.
it took me a little bit to figure that thing out. It really did. I know nothing about electricity. That's all right.
Yeah,
Sometimes that's better. That's better than people thinking they do know anything about electricity.
absolutely.
It's better to not know. Which kind of brings up the next topic.
Oh no, not the ground rod.
Oh no, not the ground rod. Whiteboard.
Oh Jesus.
The whiteboard. We're doing it.
Opinion on the new saw stop and the tax on table saws.
Oh yeah.
Mm,
Should we just erase the
saw
lightning
stop.
bolt?
Yeah, saw stop makes a great saw. They really do. It's not the best saw. It's among them, but it is not the best table saw on the market. The problem is, dudes, like if they make that mandatory on all table saws, fuck, the job site's going to get a lot more expensive.
Yeah, I agree. Also, a lot of people got their kind of hands out looking for something because if you follow the politics of that and how the first meetings went about how they're going to start implementing that requirement, it's kind of shady. But then Saw Stop turned around and said, "We're going to give our patents." But it didn't start that way. So the politics of it is really interesting because at first it was like, "Hey, we got this technology and we want to force it on the public, right?" But then now Saw Stop is actually sharing their patents, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I get it, but look, if
Kind
you
of get it. If
leave,
I want to cut my fingers off, it's my choice.
did you just go cartoon on me there for a minute?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I said, I kind of get it, but the fact of the matter is, it's just the government telling you to protect yourself from you. Uh,
Yeah.
it's not. I've read the Constitution a number of times. It never said that in the law. But most of the injuries caused by a table saw are avoidable. Leave the prawls on the back. Leave your cowl on to cover the blade. Yeah, it might suck. You might not be able to see it, but why are you looking at the damn blade to begin with? You're supposed to be looking at your rip fence if you're ripping. And if you're cross cutting, you don't need to look at the blade. You're cross cutting. Like, come on.
Yeah. What
Uh,
I'm going to show you
the
right
the
here.
the it's people that don't know how to place their hands because they've never been shown or they just don't care, and they're running their hands too near to the blade. They're
I'm
looking
going
at
to
the
make
wrong
this
things and
quick.
doing the wrong things.
I'm going to make this quick because I don't have my noise cancellation on. So now you guys can appreciate how good this thing is. You guys have no idea how good the noise
Un-
cancellation on
it's
this thing
true.
is.
Unfortunately, there is no face cancellation on this channel, so you guys can't ever appreciate how ugly we truly are.
Okay, so we got the transformer, right? We leave the
Yes.
transformer. We go to the meter. We're just going to drop the neutral here for now. So there's the neutral. Meter goes to the neutral. This is your ground bar. It's to the case. Your neutral gets bonded at the source, and then your neutral goes down to your sub panel, and your equipment ground goes down to your sub panel, right? They stay isolated. When we have a ground fault, what happens is the current. Let's just use a steel beam for example. We're not even going to draw a box. Let's just say we have structural steel, okay? And we bonded the structural steel to the ground like you should. If this gets energized, the current gets on the ground, and what it's trying to do is make its way back to the neutral, and then it goes back through your transformer to come backwards on the hot to trip the original breaker. That's the path of a ground fault.
Sure.
There's inspectors, there's electricians, there's a bunch of people, man. They think that the ground rods at the source lead the current back to the earth to trip the breaker. It's not even close. Like not even a
Yeah.
little bit.
Bye, Big Red. He needs a full face helmet. That's pretty funny.
Uh, well, it's doing it again. Hang on. Remember when we had trouble to start with?
Uh huh.
I think it's doing it
You
again.
can't hear me? I
No,
can
I
hear
can hear
you.
you.
All right, good.
Yeah, but do you hear this?
No.
See, so noise cancellation's not on right now.
Oh, I can hear your children.
Well, okay. Now you can't hear my children. We're connected now.
All right, good.
Isn't that noise
I'm
cancellation great?
yes.
Ooh, that's shaky. Don't do that.
Boom. Done.
Perfect. What'd you do?
Oh, nothing.
Don't mind me. I'm just fighting my microphone. What are you doing, microphone?
It's trying to go into your mouth like so many other things that are long and black.
It's just like muscle memory or something. Okay. All right. So
Yeah, but let's say that you had something catastrophic go on in your house, right? Unless you have a short or a break, it'll end up going back toward the transformer.
right.
Worst case, it never goes to your damn ground. Like it doesn't
Right.
hit the earth.
Yeah. I mean, you might bleed some off there, but that's not going to trip the breaker. It's just going to energize the earth.
Yeah.
You don't have enough voltage to make it back. This is like the common misconception about resupplying the power grid with your solar. You only have 240 volts to play with, like barely. You're not going to make, like, if you account for voltage drop, which you all know about voltage drop, once you get about 100 foot of cord, you're already dropping like 5 volts, depending on your load, right? So we know that as your load increases, your voltage drop increases, right? The higher your load. So we're going to take let's just say it's a 50 amp load. We're using 50 amps in our house. We're charging our Tesla and we're doing whatever. Standard, what's the average size backfed breaker? 40?
Yes.
We'll call it a 40 amp load. 40 amps over 100 feet. You're dropping so much voltage, dude. Do you really think that the power company is getting any of that back?
Well, yeah. So here's something that most people don't know. Your solar can only like the maximum range that your solar can produce is about 120 copper feet. Right? So everything is within that 120 copper feet for your full KW on those 20 days, right? Every foot after that, you've got such a severe drop off that a solar installer won't even do it unless it's a huge array. And we're talking around a meg. They won't even do anywhere close to anything beyond 120 copper feet.
Yeah. How many gallons of flow per minute do you think you'd need to power a house on a windmill?
On a windmill?
Not a windmill, a water turbine. A turbine. Read the chat. I messed that up. Yeah, man, you would need, that thing would be hauling ass. You would need.
Actually, it depends on how big the turbine is, or the wheel is that you would have on it, and how much flow.
Perpetual motion too, because even if you did, let's say you did dig a ditch that was like a 20-foot waterfall to get the velocity, you still need a pump to pump it back up. So you'd still spend money on the pump constantly flowing the water to keep the electricity going. You'd almost need like a series of cogs, like a watch, to gain the momentum and transfer the energy into something.
What we use today is such a massive amount of power that I mean, you know, you'd have to have some kind of generator hooked up. You would, like, not a generator like you guys are thinking. I'm thinking like, if you've ever seen the inside of Hoover Dam or the Niagara Mohawk plant in Niagara Falls, like if you've ever seen those facilities, those generators that they run on there, which is controlled and given power through water. What you would have, you would need, just you, the individual, you would need to have one of those roughly almost the size of an eco smart car, like, you know, those little dumpy looking shit bags. You would need
smart
one
car.
roughly that size. You would need an alternator to help regulate that current and store that current.
You'd have to have battery bank too.
Yeah,
That's the
it's
thing.
just
A
crazy.
lot, a lot of people forget that you still need batteries in the mix. So you have to have batteries. You can't not have batteries. Um, because it's kind of like if your solar and your generator were online at the same time, your generator would be consuming your solar. Um, where you can't have solar and generator at the same time. You have to isolate them as well. So you'd have to store that excess energy somewhere.
Yeah.
Because the power grid is essentially a generator. And when you start dealing with your sine wave, which everything works in 60 hertz and has the the sine wave cycle of the peak and the fall and the all that stuff,
Yeah.
your electricity is kind of designed, all your appliances are kind of designed on that hertz system. And you got to
Yep.
maintain those hertz and it's got to be clean power because if not, you get voltage spikes. So if you don't have a pure sine wave inverter and you don't have a constant feed of flow to maintain that sine wave, you're not going to be able to even power really anything. You might wind up with like some off grid thing where the lights are dim sometimes and sometimes they're not. But your electronics and stuff, you're not going to get any variable speed. So any of your modern appliances that actually maintain efficiency,
Yeah.
you don't get variable speed. You get like a modified sine wave where it's more like squares than it is a nice sine wave. So that also comes into effect. You got to have batteries.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is, back in the day, they used to use copper for everything, and now it's more common to use aluminum. And that aluminum doesn't transfer that energy at the same rate or at the same efficiency as the copper. So even the materials that you're using to build this, to do all of this, is going to be different. I mean, you really needed to. Um, I suppose you could do it, but it would only be like you'd only be able to do it in the Pacific Northwest here in the United States because they're the only ones that get enough rainfall that you wouldn't have to worry about frickin' drought as far as the water. You know, that's really the only sustainable place, unless even the Mississippi can have drops of 8 feet or more in a bad drought year. And you're certainly not going out to the middle of the Mississippi to make sure that you've got your paddle wheel deep enough. So it's just weird. And who farted's been
There's
asking me
there's
a
a
question?
there's a sexy metaphor. Get your paddle wheel deep enough. I like that.
That's true.
And to use that one later. Uh, I measured a short circuit with an amp meter and got 140 amps, which trips the breaker. Where is the amperage coming from in the short circuit?
All right, Jake.
Did you measure it freeze frame where you could see the amperage coming in before it tripped the breaker? Because that's cool. I'm jealous of that. That's really cool. Where it's coming from is a transformer. I could go get my other phone. I could do a available fault current calculation, but pretty much it's relative to the kVA of the transformer, which is kilovolt amps. So your transformer is going to put out a certain amount of kilovolt amps,
Yeah.
and then it's going to have something called impedance, which is basically resistance in the circuit. And then we're talking about the clearing time. So I used to plot the curves of uh, the amount of amperage versus how long it takes to trip the breaker. Because if you look at a lot of breakers, you'll see that they start at 10,000 amps, they start at 10K, then they go to 22, then 35, 42, 65, 100,000, and then so on. Circuit breakers usually stop at about 65. You find a 100K circuit breaker, that's a big mamma jamba. But standard, you're going to be 65K.
I'm sorry. Is that Mamba Jamba?
Mamba jamba? Did I say mama jamba?
No, you said ma'am. It's all good.
I'm
I
going
was
to eat
just
this
looking for
cookie and shut up for a
clarification.
second.
I was just looking for clarification because it was fucking hilarious, man. Dude,
a big Mandingo Jamba. So
your favorite kind. If there was ever a man that was going to take a Mandingo, it would be you. Uh,
I
internally.
mean, like a champ. Just jealous. So
You're
anyway,
right.
but
I
I need to scroll down and see if you got the freeze frame of it. Yes and yes. Dude, that's so cool. So
read who farted's question. And while you're doing that, I'm going to run upstairs real quick. I'll be right back.
how do you run your ground? How did I miss that question, dude? I saw the thing about the apartment and everything,
Because you're a
and
hillbilly.
I didn't see the last little bit of your thing. Sorry, sir. And attached to the building, the house, 800 amp switch gear. How do I run my ground? Okay, so why am I echoing? Oh, dude, he left his headphones right next to the microphone. So, is your main breaker 800 amps? And maybe I'll get a code book for you because it has nothing to do. It has nothing to do with your amperage of your main breaker. You're going to run your main service ground based on the size of the wire feeding the breaker. So in this case, if you're going for 800 amps, you probably have two 500s or two 600s, or you could have 4 3/0 sets. If we base it off of 500 kc mil, that'd be 1,000 kc mil. So you're going to go multiply by 2. So you got to go to 250.66. Why did he leave his headphones right next to the microphone? So based on that, let me go get a phone or something. I also do a fault current calculation here, real time with you guys when I get back. Be back. What? 2 are above the switch gear and 2 are 100 feet away. 2 what? '23 and a 2017. 2 apartments. 4 buildings. 4 of them are dwellings. 2 of them are attached to the building. 800 switch gear. How do you run your ground? So first off, your ground should be going to. You're going to run a continuous ground. Man, I am thoroughly confused in Michigan. Okay, hang on. Okay, let's just do this.
Oh my God, that felt so good.
Very nice. You left your microphone right next to your headphones, and it was fantastic. Thank you.
I did not.
Oh, we're no longer
you
echoing. It's all good.
I see. Yeah,
So
sorry.
good. I went and got my work iPhone, so it's going down now. If we look at this chart here, you're going to see where you are. Copper would be 600 through 1,000 kc mil right there.
Can't see it.
You'll see it in a second. And
right.
You're going to see you'd run a 2/0 copper.
There you go.
2/0 right there. That would just be going to your first piece of equipment. If he's doing a subservice, that would be based off of the main breakers that feed each individual location. So if you had a 200 amp panel that came off of one of those 800 amp continuation, however you did it, it'd be a number 6 ground, your sub panels. But anything likely to become energized, any ground rod, any UFER, any building steel, anything like that, that would go to the main service. And because you've got about 1,000 kc mil of wire, my phone's trying to die.
Oh,
You would
good.
wind up with a 2-aught. Yeah, it is good. That's good timing because now I got to unplug this. Then you can hear my kids.
Oh, I thought you're unplugging your drill dough. That'd be a tragedy for you.
Maybe I can switch phones. I got 5%, so maybe we
Why
can
don't
wing
you
it.
just run a battery bank in there?
Well, because this thing is plugged into this thing through this thing, so
It's
I'll
sucking
be right back.
juice. All right.
Yeah.
I don't know what he was talking about, but that's a great price, Jamie. 70, 20, 20. Oh, wow, already. I don't know what he was talking about. What do you guys want to talk about? Hey, I'm going to get a new tool next month. I don't know what I want to buy. Here's the rub. It cannot be a drill and it cannot be an impact driver, but I want to test something new. What should we test? I thought it was the fleshlight.
Let me see here. Hang on. I'm gonna go to my sent file where I
I was
sent
thinking
you.
about getting new tool, jackhammer. I've had a jackhammer before, but I don't have any concrete to break up.
Where I sent you the email.
I don't
join.
know. Services, I think 3-aught copper. Oh, it's fugly. I mean, it's Coochie. Jigsaws. Yeah. Oh, that's a good idea. I've done jigsaws.
It didn't like that. Hang on a second.
I've done jigsaw. I want to see. Wait till he comes back. He'll figure it out. He'll just end up using the mic on his phone and just plug his phone into power. Can't hear you. Could hear myself though. That was rather bad. Looks like. No. You never convinced me to buy a Makita. Hey, saw. The flex bolt. I can hear myself.
Can you hear me?
No.
You can't?
I mean, I can hear you on your mic, but it sounds like poo.
Hang on. We almost.
Okay. My boss expects me to be fast and super neat. Darren, you're not an electrician. Fairly patient with me. Oh, that's good. Flex. The new Metabo 1/2-inch router is dynamite. Oh, I might have to look at that.
I broke it. It's not going to work.
It's not going to okay,
It's
Drew.
not going to let me switch phones.
Just unplug your microphone and plug in the power, and then just get closer to your freaking cell phone so we can hear you.
I did that. That's what we're doing.
But who called it like 3 to 5 minutes ago? Multimeter?
What?
Oh. What?
Okay. Continuous. So this is the question. You guys gonna have to hear my kids. Now you're really gonna appreciate how good the noise cancellation was on this thing. 5 sub services. You can't have more than one service. You should have one service. So you've got multiple buildings, then it'd be separate services. So then you'd start your grounds new. But if you've got one service with one main 800 amp breaker, that's going to be your only service.
You said you're going to email me. Did you email me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. You could have texted me too. I need to have a number. Let me see.
I got plenty of angry people to keep me occupied over here.
Get a flute. Test over. Nice. Let me see here. So
Mm. All right.
I do not have an email yet.
You're getting married. Who's the lucky guy? I miss who was getting married, but that's damn funny.
That's pretty funny. I have a client for internet. Nice. I own a Freud, Rother's, the Milwaukee, so I do not do any honest comparison with Metabo. Okay.
I'm afraid of routers.
It's just
We
too
were
big
talking about
for
this earlier.
your yeah. Yeah, your pinky doesn't like routers, man. Your hand's too big. Just stick it in the router portion of the router.
Yeah, I used to have one around here. I would just grab it, my hands. I could actually almost touch my fingers together on a router.
I still do not have the email. What's up, Richard?
What's up, Richard?
Wait until he check his phone. I'm checking the
Oh
phone. I've got
no.
two phones. I got two phones here. They're both tied to the same email. This one's my YouTube phone, which is not being used for YouTube right now, but whatever.
And his email address is Coochie@CoochieLikesWood. Oh no, it's CoochieLikesHarrywood.com. That's cool. It's been so long since I used a router for anything. I might have to check it out. I don't know. That's a good idea. Routers are cool.
Okay, so he emailed it. It says here, the new building that the 800 amp switchgear is fastened to. 2 of the apartments are above the switchgear location. That's fine. How do I run the ground for the other 2 dwellings and the existing clubhouse? So when you run your grounds, you're talking about your main grounds. Let me put this right here. And we'll try to do this.
Thanks, Jamie.
When you run your grounds,
Opinions vary.
I
I was just responding.
don't know where the thing that does this went. Dang.
Okay.
There it is. Okay. Try this. Of course that doesn't work. Just run purple. Okay. This is where your
Burnishing.
main. This is the clubhouse where your main.
I'll look at it.
Here is, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Call it 800 amps. Out of this 800 amp, I don't know what your orientation is. You should have multiple 200 amp breakers.
Sure,
and they
Richard.
should go to different locations. And when you go to that different location, you should hit a panel that has, the individual breakers to go to the branch circuits in each individual house. Your only service ground you should worry about would be here at the source where your main grounding bar is. If you're trying to establish your ground to your service and you're asking what would you do there, your grounds, like if you have a cold water here or something, and you got a pipe here, you would want to kind of complicated. You would probably technically need to be bonding 2-aught based on this 200 amps. But you could argue for
DeWalt.
safety, the most amount of current that would be imposed on this cold water would come from this panel here, which would be 200 amps. So the maximum you would really need would be a number 4, because that's the most amount of current that this particular building could see. And that'd be based on 3-aught that fed that 200 amp panel. If that makes sense. But your grounds should already be in this sub panel. You should have 2 hots, a neutral, and a ground that fed this sub panel. And it would be 3
Bye, Sarah.
times 3-aughts plus a number 6 ground based on 200 amps to feed this sub panel. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything. We'll see you later, Sarah. The new building, the internet switchgear is fastened to 2 of the apartments are above the switchgear locations. How do I run the ground for the 2 other dwellings and the existing clubhouse? So if you don't have building steel in the clubhouse, there's nothing to run a ground to. If you've got cold water, it would technically already be bonded because you've already bonded it at the service here. So you can use your cold water like a conductor. That was
Very nice. Very
I
good.
meant to do that. I meant to do that.
Always.
Yeah.
You're
If
good,
you've got,
James.
we got underground pipe, right? It's all copper. And you got a house here, you got a house here, you got a house here. At some point, all this copper is already electrically continuous, connected together. So when you bond here, this one time to your 800 amp service, you are essentially done. So there's a couple of different ways to look at it. It just depends on, I don't think you really have to worry about grounding those houses because you've already grounded your service. Been trying to become an electrician, but I'm learning by feel. That's funny. What if the cold water is plastic? Then you don't bond it because we're only bonding. You can't use a cold water as a grounding electrode unless you got at least 5 feet of copper in the earth. So if it's PEX, there's nothing to bond to. When they pour the slab, if this is your slab structure, right? They usually mound up the dirt here, and then they have rebar that runs across here, and they have rebar that comes across here inside the footers, and then sometimes they pull post tensions on top of that, right? When you have your rebar that goes at least 20 foot long, they'll take a 20-foot piece of rebar that's at least half an inch in diameter, and they'll stub it up right here, and they'll tie all that rebar together. And then all you have to do is tie onto this rebar that's tied to the slab, and that becomes your UFR ground. You got to have at least 20 feet of half-inch rebar that's encased in concrete, fully encased, at least 2 inches in the footer. It can't be in flat work. It can't be in pavement. Has to be in structure. So in your footer, whenever you pour your slab, there'll be rebar in here. If you don't have that, you'd simply drive 2 ground rods to be code. But a lot of municipalities will make you do a 20-foot long ditch. That ditch is going to be 30 inches deep. You're going to drive 1 ground rod on this side, 1 ground rod on this side, and you're going to run bare 2-aught from this ground rod down in the ditch 30 inches deep up to this ground rod. And you're going to do a listed clamp here. You're going to do a listed clamp here, and you're going to land that bare 2-aught copper to the main ground bar of your 800 amp service.
Fascinating.
But that's only relevant at the service. So if you're trying to ground to earth, you could use ground rods. Technically, you need one. Code says if you don't have less than 25 ohms, you drive 2, 6 feet apart.
You guys are going to witness this live because
What are you
that's the
doing?
kind of guy I am.
All right.
Hold on. I got to move this bar.
All right. What have you got?
Got a big block of wood, sir.
You need the rods. Give him the rod.
Spare the rod, spoil the child.
It'd be bear 2-aught, not number 2. It'd be bear 2-aught.
Is Joshua
But by
Wilson here?
code, you can run number 6 technically for ground rods, but you want that buried contact with the earth kind of thing going on. 2-aught's definitely the way to do it. Can't dig. You can
Shake your groove thing.
yeah, just do the rods. Just do the rods. Be done.
You can always shake your groove thing.
That's right. Well, I don't know where Joshua is. He's probably busy, man. He's busy going down chimneys.
He might be busy going down chimneys. Damn.
John's Xeris, I've never heard less than 25 ohms. I'll go get the code book. You're back.
While he's playing around with the code book, rigid 8 amp hour battery, not fully charged. DeWalt 5 amp hour power stack battery, not fully charged.
Oh, there you go.
All right, you got your code book while you're looking?
Oh, I already found it. You want me to show you?
No.
Oh, okay.
Oh, damn, DeWalt got a jump. They look even.
There's an exception there. It says right here, if a single rod/pipe or plated grounding electrode has a resistance to earth of 25 ohms or less, the supplemental electrode shall not be required. So
It
if you've
shall
got
not pass.
25 ohms or less, the supplemental electrode shall not be required. So per code, you actually only need one rod. But the inspectors don't believe you, and they think you're flying sacks of crap, and they make you drive 2. I asked my instructor that my first year, whenever I became an electrical inspector. But hey, man, why do we make them drive 2 rods? And he said, well, the code says to drive 2. And I was like, no, it doesn't. I was like, it says that if we can't prove it. And I was like, why do you make them drive 2? Oh, we know they're never going to achieve it. Okay. Well, what if they drive 2 and they still didn't achieve it? Why don't we make them drive 3? Where do you stop?
At 10.
At 10, drive 10.
It's a nice even number. As a matter of fact, they should require it to be 10 no matter what.
Existing structures already grounded. Do I need to attach to them? Do you steel?
Uh-oh.
You only got to do this at your service. You don't want to do this at sub panels. So if you're coming off of a breaker and you're feeding another panel, you don't have to reestablish the earth ground. You only need to do it at the first, where your meter is. How many meters do you have? You got a bunch of meters that are like actual services. that come from transformers, then yeah, you need to drive ground rods at every disconnect. Pretty much where that meter is, I guess would be the best way to explain that. Peyton Dieter, what's going on? We're talking electrical and
Who farted? You don't take a rod, you take an entire pole.
25 ohms from the electrode to what? So, that is a good debate on exactly what are you trying to achieve. It would be to where when you connect your multimeter. Let me think about this carefully. It's not 6 feet apart. What?
I can smell the smoke.
Where do you measure the 25 ohms? I would think it would be from the earth to your equipment. And then you drive the ground rod in your earth to your equipment, and the ground rod should grab the surrounding earth. But truth be told, man, no one's ever done that test. Like I've seen the resistance meters, like where you put it over the rod, but I don't know physically where to pinpoint on it. But I guess I guess you would take 120 volts to the rod and get your voltage difference, then do a Ohm's law calculation to figure out how many ohms that is. The resistance. Maybe you ground out the rod to a 120 volt circuit and see how many amps, and then figure out your resistance that way. Who really knows? I don't even know what they're talking about because the code is like outdated when it comes to that stuff anyway. Because ground rods don't even really do that much, as far as I'm concerned. And they got another requirement that says you can't attach a grounding electrode to your ground bar unless the bonding jumper is a wire or bus bar. I've actually owned with the ground rod resistance tester 3. But that's because the electrician provided it. And he only drove 1. And he said, "Are you going to accept this?" And I was like, "Hell yeah, it's code." But have I physically actually taken a multimeter and gone from point to point? No, I don't even know how to do that test. People do cut rods all the time.
I didn't know Europe used flat ground rod. Never heard of such a thing. So
You're getting very seriously, even having a spike on top of the house connected to the ground. Yeah, that's for lightning protection. That's a little bit different. That's going to that's where
redirect.
ground rods do help. And they redirect the energy back to the earth where it originated from. That's a legitimate use of a ground rod. Chat is so far behind, I'll just call tomorrow. I mean, you could do that.
I did not realize this, and I apologize because I'm kind of hijacking because of my own ignorance here.
What
I did not
article?
realize this, but I hit 73,000 today. Like
Nice, dude. Congratulations.
I am so far out of the loop. I didn't even realize I hit 73K.
Nice, dude. That's awesome.
Dude, I need like 27 more, and then I'll be done. Not done, but like relaxed.
250.53 A, and just keep reading down.
Thanks, Leonardo.
250.53A.
What is it? Thank you, Paul.
Appreciate it, Leonardo. Is the ground used a flat wide bar? In the ground used a flat, yeah, exactly, man. That's what I would do because you only got to bury them 30 inches deep. Now I'm opening up this freaking code book again.
He was talking about in Europe.
No, that's great. It's called a plate electrode.
We're doing
So-
pretty good.
So that's what I would do, man. I would do a plate if it was me, because you've got a bunch of different requirements, right? So what plate electrodes say is they got to be 30 inches below the earth, which is way better than, digging a long ditch or doing anything else. But then it also says how big they got to be. So let me see if I can find it here.
I've been losing weight, so kiss my ass.
Hang on a second.
I'll tell you what. This is because I didn't think I could do it because I've got leg and whatnot issues, but I walked 5 miles yesterday.
It's true, man. I've been talking to him while he's doing it.
That's a
Why-
lot of
why
weight to
does it
carry
tell
for
me
5
that?
miles.
I already know it's 2x2. And it's a little plate.
Uh-huh.
But it's gonna bug me that I can't find it now.
I don't know. Well, we had 88 people in here, only 19 likes. What's up? You guys don't like it? I'll tell you what. This man, if you put your ear up against his head, you can hear the ocean.
Oh man, I can't find it. Why can't I find it?
Yes, John, buy a code book. They're cheap.
What's wrong with me here? Why can't we find it?
Miss Barry, if you lay down underneath me, I'll do some squats to teabag you. That count?
But that does count.
No, I'm trying to lose weight. I got a little too big. So I gotta lose weight. I want to lose like 40 pounds or so. Not a lot.
I'll tell you what, man, that's gonna bug me. Okay. I found it. I found it. No, I didn't. I didn't find it.
This could take all day. Do you guys have a comfortable chair? Or
No, we're getting out of here, man. Yeah, we're getting out of here. But anyway, I think we covered all the topics. I don't know.
I don't think you did.
The code book interpreter. Yeah.
But I don't think you
Yeah,
covered
rod-
because
rod
there are
and
like
pipe.
6 things.
You got here's water pipe. Where in the hell is this thing? Plate electrode. The plate electrode shall be installed not less than 30 inches below the surface, but there's more to it than that.
Always is.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there it is. I found it. It is 2 feet. 2 feet squared. So each plate electrode shall expose not less than 2 feet squared of surface to the exterior soil. Electrodes of bare or electrically conductive coated iron or steel plates shall be at least a quarter inch in thickness. Solid uncoated electrodes of non-ferrous metal shall be at least 0.5 millimeters or 0.06 inches in thickness. You can get a fairly thin copper plate that's 2 foot squared and only dig a 30-inch deep trench or hole and bury it and be good.
There you go.
It's the way to go. The John was saying the ground lies 20 feet continuous together is actually it's actually not quite correct. We're talking about the concrete encased electrode here, which must be concrete encased because it's going to prevent it from corrosion. It's actually going to encase it. And what concrete encased says, one or more bare zinc galvanized or other electrically conductive coated steel reinforcing bars of rod not less than ½ inch diameter, installed in one continuous 20-foot length in multiple pieces connected together by usual steel tie wires, exothermic welding, which would be CAD welding, or other effective means to create 20 feet of greater in length. Or you can run bare copper lot not less than number 4. And what it goes on to say is that concrete installed with insulation, vapor barriers, films, or similar items separating the concrete from the earth is not to be considered in direct contact with the earth. Also, if it's in contact with the earth, like without rebar encasement, it's going to corrode.
Makes sense.
And it's going to be in the structural foundation. So that would be your concrete encased electrode. That's what we talked about earlier up there. The electricity, it creates an equipotential plane. If you think of it like a swimming pool, right? Where if this book has 120 volts on it, right now I am energized by 120 volts. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If I touch this with my other hand, this hand is already energized at 120 volts, so I can't get shocked. If Souls comes in here and he grabs this book and he's standing on the ground, which is not energized, he's going to get shocked because of the difference in voltage. So
I can take
your
it.
concrete encased electrode creates a perimeter loop around your whole building that kind of has a level playing field of the same voltage because everything has a value to Earth. So if the Earth gets energized in that area, it's already the same kind of potential, I guess you would say, where nothing happens.
Makes sense.
I got you. I was talking about grounding rods. I don't know about that, man. It only talks about grounding rods being 6 feet driven apart. I'd have to look in the code book about how many you have to drive. I don't know about 20 feet. I know you can lay them in a ditch 30 inches deep.
Oh,
I'd be shocked if
I've
you're
laid.
interested in grabbing the book.
Oh wait, you said ditch. I was going to talk about the thing I put in 30 inches deep in something else, but it rhymes with
Hey,
ditch.
I was talking to my iPad one day, and I was telling somebody they needed to dig the ditch at least. It needed to be at least 2 feet deep because they went underneath the driveway. And another inspector came back behind me and he was like, "That's a bad one." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And it had typed out, on there. And I was like, "Dang, it is a bad one."
You need to
Almost hit send.
enunciate.
I almost sent it. I've been having to enunciate GFCI lately. It thinks that I say GSCI. And then I gotta go hit delete, delete, delete. It's driving me crazy. And Romex always comes back as Romax. It doesn't know what Romex is.
Yeah, it's all right. It doesn't know when to choose wood or wood. It might go
I don't know.
WOOD or WOLD. OULD, sorry.
I don't really put would because I can't tell them what I would do. I just gotta tell them what the code book says. I would be like, if I was you, I would blah 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 blah. So
No,
I don't think that word ever comes out.
if you're talking wood, you're talking theirs.
Yeah. Hey, we gotta get out of here though.
Let's get the
sport. Let's get out of here. Romax GSCI voice to text. Yeah. If you guys enjoyed it, you thought it was helpful, whatever, let us know in the comments below.
God bless you if you did.
We'll see you guys later. It's also about your soil conditions. If you have very sandy soil, you have to drive that rod deeper. Yeah,
Oh,
you just won't make the minimum requirements. So you'll just be driving more of them. In Afghanistan and stuff, they pour salt to make it more conductive. I appreciate it, Leonardo. We'll see you later.